What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today's gonna be a weird video. So a few years ago, I started looking around under my passenger glove box for some wires that I wanted to track down, and I find out a small device that back then I had no idea what it was. After doing some research, asking around online, I ended up finding out that what the small device was a tracking device. Now, my H2 was purchased, like I purchased my H2 from my mom and pop dealership, and I figured, well, maybe this is the way they track the H2, because believe it or not, for the most part, all these mom and pop dealerships, for the most part, they do have some kind of tracking device somewhere in the car, in case the car gets stolen or the customer decide not to pay for it and dump it somewhere. They need to have a way to find this vehicle. However, that was not the case with my H2. I went back to the small dealership where I got it from, and they told me, yes, we do have a tracking device on the H2, but it's not located in there. I later find out where that device was, and still on the H2. I haven't touched it because it also helps me now that I own the H2. But then that left me thinking, hey, what is this little device? I mean, who else is tracking it? So after going back to all the info that I had on my H2, then I remembered that my H2 used to be a fleet vehicle for the Hummer dealership. And then after that, they converted it to a demo. I went to my old Carfax report, got the VIN number. After doing a little bit more research, I went back to what used to be Hummer of it was a dealership north of Houston somewhere, because I remember I bought my H2 in Houston, but this was originally from another small town in Texas. The dealership right there went from having these as a little fleet vehicle to pick up customers and kind of like a courtesy vehicle. It went from that to being a demo, and then at 8,000 miles, they went ahead and sold it to the first owner, the guy before me. I actually got a hold of the guy at some point, some years ago, and he also told me, hey, yes, it's funny that I was looking at all the wiring to get the radio swapped, and I saw that, but I left it alone because, you know, I figured it was maybe part of the car. Anyways, the small device, you're about to see a small little clip of that right now. Turns out to be a aftermarket tracking device that the dealership itself installed on the H2. Now, keep in mind, I've got this H2 now for probably, let me see, I got this vehicle just over 10 years ago. This device was being used till at least 2015. Now, at 2015, I've already owned this vehicle for a few years though. The reason I know this was still being used, not by the dealer, and maybe I shouldn't say it was being used, maybe I should say it was still turned on, is because the company that installed these here was bought by another company, and that other company never ever lost track of all the devices. The only way they would have lost track of all these devices that you just saw, the little clip a little while ago. I'll put the clip in here now so you can see what it looks like. This device was on the old 3G network. So even if today that company was still trying to monitor all the devices, because of the 3G network just got shut down not too long ago, where this device used to be operating on, it would have been like OnStar. It would have been obsolete. But it was funny to know that, to find out that till not long ago my H2 was, somebody was still knowing where my H2 was. Now, back when I find the box and I opened it and I saw all of it, and then I did my research and find out that this could still be active because I still see lights on the motherboard. I went ahead and removed the SIM card that you saw on it. That SIM card, pretty much, for those of you who don't know, this device is pretty much a Nokia motherboard, a Nokia phone motherboard. Yes, the old Nokia brick phones that you used to carry around a few years ago. That is what that motherboard is. That's part of a Nokia phone. The way it works is there's a signal, almost like a phone call, sent to the device. The device then receives that signal and sends a signal back with the location of the vehicle. In the case of this one here, at the time, it was pretty advanced, because as far as I can tell, after doing some research, this model that was on the H2 back in mid-2000s would give them speed, location, pretty much everything that you needed to find out where the H2 was, whether the H2 was on, off, if it was moving, what speed was at, where it was, pretty much everything. So again, after me finding out exactly what it was, I decided, hey, I no longer need to be, nobody needs to know where I'm at. I even have my OnStar shut off. Right now, it's at least the half of the vehicle works, but it's not connected anywhere, because as you all know, all these older vehicles, 03, 04, 05, they were shut down a long time ago. And the only way OnStar would get a hold of you is if you go back to the dealership and opt for an upgrade on the OnStar Mario, which is not my case. So after removing that, it was just pretty much the only thing that was tracking still tracking my H2 is an alarm system that was installed till this day. That's a pretty advanced alarm system. I don't even know where the track devices are. So I just thought I'll make today's video to kind of give you a heads up. If you're paranoid like some of us are about somebody tracking you, you might want to start looking under your glove box. And again, I want to show you that the little device again. Here, I'll show you. There you have it. It's pretty much this little box right here. I'm trying to get the cover off. There's your SIM card right there, old school SIM card. The other side of the motherboard. And again, for those of you not familiar with these right here, this right here is pretty much part of the motherboard of a cell phone. And again, this works kind of like a cell phone. It receives a phone call from the system, it returns the phone call or replies to the phone call with pretty much all kinds of info on where the H2 is, so that whoever owns the H2 at that time, or if this was going to be a fleet vehicle, then hey, one of our trucks got stolen, or we haven't seen it, or we're trying to locate an employee, that's what's used for that. So I kind of wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was interesting. And if you are able to track the history of your H2 back to whoever, what it was the H2, if you know the H2 was a fleet vehicle, do a little bit of research around your H2. Maybe you'll be amazed on what you're gonna find. Just to give you a heads up, I've seen other people find similar devices, but they found it on the driver's side, underneath the steering column. When they took out the plastic underneath the steering wheel, they find stuff down there. They were looking for stereo related cables, and they found similar devices. And same thing, they went ahead, cut it off, turn it off, and later find out that yes, their H2 was either a demo or it was a fleet vehicle for the Hummer dealership, or maybe a GM dealership, or maybe some executive company that had the tracking device. So again, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.